There's no place like the Qube. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and it's almost Pride. Yeah, you heard me. It's almost Pride, and yes, this isn't the normal intro, so tap back in. And don't fast forward this part. I want to talk for a quick second. Can I share something? I want to get to know y'all better. Podcasting can really be such a one-way medium unless you are being incredibly intentional for it not to be. This is me being incredibly intentional. I've heard positive things from podcasters whose listeners leave them voicemails, and I want to try it out. Let me tell you what I have in mind, all right? Nearly everywhere I go, folks say, family, back to me. And it warms my heart so much. In leading up to Pride, tell me why you love being family. Tell us why you love being queer or an ally or a comrade to the LGBTQ community. I want to share them during Pride and remind us why we are magical humans who are beautifully and wonderfully made. The script's gonna go something like, I'm family and I love us because you fill in the blank, because we're beautiful and fierce, because all are welcome here, because we refuse to go back in the closet. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? So you already know, a link to leave us a voicemail is in the show notes. I really hope to hear from you. You, the one listening right now. I want to hear from you. Now, if you're driving, just make a mental note, okay? That's the safe thing to do. If you're at your computer, go ahead and make a calendar reminder so you don't forget. If you're doing your dishes, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just don't forget, okay? I really want to hear from you. Now, let's take a quick break for our sponsors we love so much. Family, this is your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn here. And if you're listening to this sponsor spot, that means it works. That means these ads can work. And we've got some amazing Pride specials coming up for all of our episodes in June. I want you to check out the link in the show notes. We got $15 shout outs on the podcast. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast and on Instagram. And if you want to get one step further, we can do Instagram, TikTok, and the podcast. Let's go. Support queer media and buy a Pride ad today. Now for the news. What do these brands have in common? Bud Light, Target, and the North Face. On the surface, nothing. But leading up to Pride, they all tried to show up. But let's talk about which were performative and which ones were really about it. The Texas House impeaches its transphobic attorney general. The LA Dodgers take it back and reinvite the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence back to Pride Night. A Chick-fil-a in Louisiana shows love to its queer employee, and you know that went viral, right? And Isis King is back on season 2 of With Love on Amazon. Let's go, family.
You are now tuned in to higher frequencies. We do this frequently. Turn your radio station to E3 for that decency. Listen to great music and the latest movement. Safe listening for anyone that's tuned in. Who you waking up to? Anna DeShawn, QCrew and friends. It's that real talk. Online radio with the spins. You caught up in traffic, frustrated. Just check in with E3 to shift your vibrations and get elevated. That's queer radio done right. Choose to be yourself. That's the only way to live life, and that's how it's done here. Just know y'all tuned in to the greatest. Ain't no competition. We ain't worried about the other stations. Check.
Family, we officially kick off Pride Month this week on Thursday. It's that time of the year where we get to celebrate being who I believe God created us to be in all our fullness and beauty and queerness and rainbows. I mean, I love everything about Pride. I can remember my first Pride when I was a little baby dyke, out here just wearing rainbows everywhere and feeling really overwhelmed by it all. Thinking, wow, this is possible. We can be this out, this bold, this free. Now it's our responsibility to fight so the next generation can experience that too, you know? In the 2 decades I've been going to Pride in Chicago, I've never felt so unsettled. Between legalized transphobia in red states around the country, anti-LGBTQ rhetoric across social media platforms, I mean, the Proud Boys and their friends are plotting against us daily. They are talking in their chats and they want to bully us out of celebrating. Little known fact, in 2022, it's estimated the Proud Boys participated in at least 174 anti-LGBTQ demonstrations. That is a commitment to hate, and we can't have that. We can't allow them to bully us. Hate cannot win. We must fight back, and we fight back by showing up, by refusing to be afraid. We can do this, and we can do it better than some of these brands out here. So with that, let's get into our top story today about these big blue chip brands and Pride. For years here in Chicago, organizers have held a Dyke March. Now, Dyke March hasn't been without its own controversies, but it's been a place and a space for folks to gather outside of the mainstream, commercialized Pride celebrations. It's been a space for community-driven versus brand-driven activities. Over the past weeks, we've seen why organizers have long advocated for spaces like Dyke Marches because they believe these brands were in it for profit. Performative allyship is what we call it, versus comrades, or co-conspirators, as I've heard some other folks say, in the fights for our rights and liberation. They've long said that these brands are in it because we spend money, and going against the gays is bad for business. And we've seen this over the last few weeks, right? It started with Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. They have hundreds of partnerships with influencers, hundreds. But this one with Dylan got the right all fired up, which was followed by a Switzerland-inspired response by Anheuser-Busch. They could have done so much better, which then in turn led to bars around the country, and specifically ones here in Chicago, boycotting Anheuser-Busch and refusing to sell any of their products. Then it was Target, whose Pride collection has become a staple over the last decade. I mean, I personally have gotten behind this mic and praised them for their support of the LGBTQ community. Their partnerships with LGBTQ designers over the years is well documented, and it has helped to grow their individual brands. They were doing it before many others even thought about it. This year, though, they folded under the guise of protecting their employees, which, let me just say, I think is of utmost importance for any employer, is to protect their employees. But I do think this could have been handled in a different way. Could there have been a way to protect their employees and still keep the Pride collection in the front of the store? Did they have to completely remove Eric Carno's line of goods? Absolutely not. Fox News calling him a Satanist when in fact he's an atheist, which honestly in the eyes of Fox News are probably the same thing, I guess. But I don't think they had to buckle. I think they could have doubled down on their support by coming up with strategic ways to protect their employees. When our leading LGBTQ organizations stood up, HRC, GLAAD, National Black Justice Coalition, the National LGBTQ Task Force, Family Equality, National Center for Lesbian Rights, and GLSEN, now they are being attacked, and specifically GLSEN. I'm going to get back to that in my word because there's a call to action we all need to follow to give them the support they need right now. So listen to the end of this episode so you can hear what those call to actions are. I just expected more out of Target. I think we all did, right? Then it was the North Face's turn as they dropped an ad with drag queen Patagonia. The right-wing extremists came with their same tight approach, but the North Face took a different approach than Bud Light and Target. The North Face decides to stand firm. Then they dropped a statement that read, "The North Face has always believed the outdoors should be a welcoming, equitable, and safe place for all. We are honored," yeah, they said honored and grateful to support partners like Patagonia, who help make this vision a reality. Creating community and belonging in the outdoors is a core part of our values and is needed now more than ever. We stand with those who support our vision for a more inclusive outdoor industry. Now that is a response. That is what it means to not try to play the Switzerland approach. We don't need performative allyship. Not today. Well done, North Face. Well done. Because family, in this country, economics is power. And with Pride Month kicking off this week, it's important that you're thinking about how and where you are spending yours. We are not living in a time where performative allyship can be tolerated. We need comrades. We need co-conspirators. And we ought not settle for anything less. On to political news. This is some of the most surprising news I've seen in a while. A Republican-led Texas House of Representatives has voted to impeach their very own Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Now, the Republicans never turn on each other, like never. Not very many Texas officials have ever been impeached, and none since 1976. The House General Investigating Committee outlined 20 articles of impeachment, most of which were associated with a political donor and doing favors to benefit them. Effective immediately, he is temporarily suspended from his duties. Now, you might be asking, Anna, what does this have to do with queer news? Well, let me tell you. You've heard me talk about Paxton. From his homophobic and transphobic rhetoric and policies, he not only supports, but has the authority to prosecute. In just the last couple of weeks, I was talking about him investigating 2 hospitals in Texas accused of providing gender-affirming care. He and Governor Abbott have been a team and made it their mission to demonize our trans siblings in Texas. Paxton is a Trump-supporting, MAGA hat-wearing bigot who wants to see our lives removed from society and was actively doing so until his Republican Party decided to impeach him. Let me just tell y'all, on Saturday, it was an unprecedented move, to say the very, very least. Now, this isn't the end of the matter, okay? The Senate will need to hold a hearing, but it appears the writing is on the wall, and I'd imagine those hospital investigations aren't nearly a top priority anymore. Now, let's take a quick break, hear from a couple of our sponsors, and then jump into some more good queer news.
Are you lost in your podcast journey? If so, you found the right podcast. My name is DJ Tracy Treese, and I'm a podcast producer. In partnership with the Qube, I'm bringing you the Lost and Found for podcasters. I've worked behind the scenes on some of your favorite podcasts, and I'll be bringing you some great conversations with podcast industry experts to help you find your way through your podcast journey. There's so much information out there, and the industry is rapidly changing. No need to feel lost. You found the right podcast. Subscribe to the Lost and Found for podcasters now. Everywhere that you listen to podcasts, if you prefer your podcast in video, click the link in the description to subscribe to this podcast on YouTube.
What has 144 players, 12 teams, and 1 league that you should tap into? If you guessed the WNBA, you already know. If you didn't, we'll get you up to speed real quick. My name is Money, and this is Rebound Revolution, bringing you the revolutionary on and off the court happenings in the W. Join me and a special guest each week as we watch them work. Listen to Rebound Revolution wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the show, family. Let's jump into our culture and entertainment news for this week. All of which, in honor of kicking off Pride Month, will only be good things. Let's start with the LA Dodgers. A few weeks back, the Dodgers caved to right-wing pressure to not honor one of the longest-standing queer organizations, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. The Sisters have been serving the community for 27 years through comedy, community outreach, and grants programs. I first saw the LA LGBT Center calling on the Dodgers to be held accountable when they rescinded their invitation, and then others joined. Through that advocacy, the LA Dodgers have since reversed their decision and asked the Sisters to in fact join them to be honored on Pride Night. According to a statement published on their website, the Sisters, along with the LA LGBT Center, Other government from West Hollywood and other leaders sat down with Dodgers president and CEO. During the sit-down, the Dodgers apologized. And they concluded that if anything like this was to ever happen again, they would work together to resolve it. The sisters felt it was sincere, accepted their apology, and re-invitation to join again. They said this affair has been an opportunity for learning with a silver lining. Our group has been strengthened, protected, and uplifted to a position where we may now offer our message of hope and joy to far more people than before. So family, if you're in LA, get yourself to this Dodgers game, even if you don't even like baseball, okay? So that you can cheer as loud as humanly possible when they show the sisters some love. Next is Chick-fil-A. And I'm laughing because, y'all, there is no way you could have told me I would be telling a good queer news story about Chick-fil-A ever on this podcast. Maybe all things really are possible. But I'm not talking about Chick-fil-A corporate. What I'm talking about is one specifically located in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Now, let's be clear, I have never even eaten at a Chick-fil-A, and I never plan to because of their long stance against the LGBTQ community. And also, let me be clear that I believe you can be Christian and love queer people all at the same time. But let me get back into this story. The chain in Thibodaux posted on their Facebook about one of their employees named Tavion. Tavion is queerly queer as all get out. In the picture they posted, he has a lace front, okay? The hair is going down his back, long lashes, and lip gloss on. Now, this page typically gets about 200, 250 likes on a given post. A couple of comments, barely any shares. Now, this post has gone viral with over 60,000 reactions, 1,000 comments, and nearly 5,000 shares. I don't know who runs their social media account for Thibodaux, Louisiana, but here's my hope. My hope is that they keep their job and that they aren't forced to take the post down. It's been 6 days at this point, so we are counting that this good news holds. But I do appreciate them. I do appreciate them highlighting Tavion. It's important. It's really important. In entertainment news, Gay Magazine reported that Isis King is back on season 2 of With Love. And honestly, outside of King, this show is just a great watch. I really enjoyed season 1. I thought it was so well done. Lots of queerness that just feels normal. We can't get enough of this type of entertainment in the world, where being queer is not a thing that's feared or unaccepted or come with all this trauma. It depicts life as so many of us know it. Isis told Variety, "I'm just happy to be able to play a character with no trauma." Y'all, that is so real. Season 2 drops on Friday, so in the meantime, go ahead and binge season 1 on Prime and get ready for season 2. We must watch so they create more content like this. That's how this works. And honestly, I think you'll really enjoy it. Now it's time for my word of the day, and you already know Anna's always got a word. As we head into Pride Month, my word for the day is happy freaking Pride. That's it. That is all. Happy Pride. And with that, all our pride this year is going to come with some call to actions. You heard me earlier talk about the hate that GLSEN is getting right now, and they have given us clear call to actions as to how we can support their work. 1, we can donate. The link is in the show notes. 2, we can take the pledge. It's their pledge called Rise Up. Rise Up is a map that shows communities across the country who are rising up against hateful anti-LGBTQ+ bills and rhetoric. So go take the pledge. And 3, you can go visit their Instagram and share the post that outlines these points of calls to action. We have to use our voice and our platforms to fight back, right? So family, happy Pride, take some action, and y'all better be proud all month long, okay? Till next week, peace. If you enjoyed what you hear, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is a production of E3 Radio, your #1 queer radio station playing queer music and reporting on queer news in high rotation.